Okay, so a very good morning, Anuman. It's a great pleasure to have you join me today for, to speak about your GMAT journey. 750 on your GMAT score, and it was not long ago, so September 15th,
Yes, yeah,
with a with the breakup of Quant 50 and verbal 41. Is that
yes,
right?
yeah.
So congratulations, Anuman, and so thank you again for joining Top and
No
Percent
problem.
and joining me today. So please tell me about yourself and your overall experience with Top and Percent. How did the entire GMAT journey start, and what was your aim when you considered starting your GMAT journey? And before joining Top 1%, what was your entire GMAT score like? Please just walk us through this.
So I graduated. I finished my undergrad last year in July, and I started working immediately after in the UK at PwC. And then I felt like I have to like do an MBA sooner or later. So I thought because this course valid for 5 years, might as well get done with it as soon as I can. So I just spoke to a few of my friends who said, you can do it yourself. It's not too much, and because I had a good mathematical background, so I felt okay. Quant is something I can still do it, but I thought verbal will be a bit difficult for me. So I ordered the official guides, and for my first year, I thought I'll just do it every now and then, find some time and do it. Then I gave a few mock tests, and I was scoring like 700 in my mock tests. So I was not very happy. So
Um,
I asked a friend of mine, he got a 760 very recently. So I asked him, what did you do? How did you yourself? He's like, I enrolled at top 1%. And I was like, oh, what's that? Then he told me, he gave me a link, and I saw and I read all the, journeys who Sir's had with. And, I thought, okay, I mean, this really resonates with my story. And I felt like, if I do this, it's like you don't want to miss out, right? If the world can do it, so can you. So I felt, it'd be
right.
like a FOMO kind of thing, like fear of missing out. So I felt, I have to do it. And then I spoke to Richard. The response time was very quick. I mean, like within a day or two, I did the mock session with Sir, and I saw the content, and I was like, I have to do it. And this really gave me the other side of this test. I mean, what it exactly is. I thought, oh, verbal is English, quant is math. I never thought it'd be like a logical test.
Right.
It was very different. It was a different approach, which is very logical and very straightforward. And from that day onwards, I was like, now I'm on the right track to, get my things sorted. And, that really was an eye opener for me. So I think, yeah, this has been a really, really good journey. And, it wouldn't have been possible without Richa, who's my point of contact. And then, especially Jignesh, because so I don't know if people know, but I gave 2 attempts. I gave one on the 27th of August earlier this year. And
Right.
I got a 700 in that. I was
Right.
really unhappy because I was doing really well in my mock tests, and my quant score was again 50 in that, but
Okay.
my verbal score was really, really not up to the mark. So that really
Right.
got fall down. So I spoke to Jignesh. I said, Jignesh, this has happened. He's like, don't worry. He asked me what happened in the exam.
Right.
I really panicked in one of the comprehension passages, and that really just put me on a downfall from there.
Uh,
And then got my ESR report, and I saw the first half was really, really smooth in my verbal. And since that passage, I had a very bad success ratio, and that really pulled my score down. Then he told me it's all right. It happens to the best of us. Don't really panic. You've got 15 days before you can sit again. So if you because you're in this habit of in this preparation zone right now, don't delay it further. Just give it after 15 days. Just practice. He gave me a few things to practice. All the material was in the top 1% portal. Everything was there. Nothing to go beyond that. I did a few. I bought the official mocks 3, 4, and 5, 3, 4, 5, and 6 from the official GMAT website. I think
mm,
that really helped me because they gave me a real life, like a real simulation of the exam.
right.
So I think that was one of those that really changed in those 15 days. Rest, I did the same practice, same questions from top 1%, and I got a good score like after that. So I think those 15 days were something that really changed it for me. But I guess again, the team, kudos to the team to help me through the downfall, through everything, and the response time again. Like I would ask them, "Can I call you now?" They're like, "Yeah, sure, sure." I mean, that response is really, really unique to top 1%.
Yeah. I'm just going to take a minute, 1 minute. I think your screen is shaking a bit. Maybe can.
Okay.
No problem. So, going back to this time when you initially started with Top 1%, just before you had to go through this process of demo, because that's like the standard, it's just to see if you resonate with how Sandeep sir teaches, the way he's teaching, and if you've been preparing for on your own, a lot of things can logically make sense in the
Yeah,
sense how you're approaching and why you're wrong, right? So you initially did mention about the fact that quant is your strong suit, but verbal
yeah.
has been weaker. So while you started off with Top 1% and went through your journey, is there any particular content or strategies or technique that has proved to be significantly improved, or has proved to be very effective? What would you say that, Anuman?
I think I was very scared of sentence correction as a whole.
Right.
So when I was doing sentence correction on myself, I thought, basic language would be all right, because it's grammatical stuff, and if I've been brought up speaking a bit of English here and there, I think I should be fine. But I still made a lot of errors, and then when Sandeep sir gave us that whole way to approach a question, and those tricks and tips, and like it's not the standard English that you speak every day. What may sound right is not the best option. So I
That's
think
true.
that really like changed it for me. He gave us like a logical approach. He gave us preferences, and like how basic grammar works in the sense, but you have to make sure that there are better choices. There might be two right answers, but there has to be a one perfect answer, or like a one better option, right? That
Yeah,
was one really key thing that really helped me in sentence correction. For reading comprehension, he told us about don't have to justify why your answer is right. Eliminate and just move on. Because
right,
what I would do earlier is, if I got an answer, if I narrowed it down to one answer, I'd be like, why is it correct? I would waste time there, right? But when he's like, just eliminate, get your answer and move forward. Don't really focus on why is it right every time. He mentioned about verifying your answer. That yes, that is a key criteria. But if you've eliminated the other choices, it's fine. Just move on. Don't waste your time there.
right.
One thing that really helped me was 2 minutes maximum, because sometimes I'll be like, why am I not getting this answer right? I can work again. I can compensate for the time later. But I felt like if you're not getting the answer in 2 minutes, just put your best guess forward and move on, because you can't waste time here and make sure try and compensate later. So I think time management was really helpful. So I think these three things were really helpful from Top 1%.
Yeah.
And I think the way he broke down the what was third section? Sorry, I mean
Critical reasoning,
critical reasoning. Yes, critical reasoning. I think again he broke it down into like different sections as to assumptions and
bold
everything else. I think
face,
so
evaluative.
that breakdown was really important. I think then you know how to approach what sort of question, because when I was preparing on my own, I thought that's one whole like one whole like section, and that's it. But breaking out into minor sections really helped me just narrow down what approach to use, how to go about it. So I think that was really really nice.
I would like to just touch on this point, which you said, verbal, you cannot go by
Yeah,
instinctive way of answering. And so, because you're good with quant, what really, essentially applies to you or appeals to you is that if you have a mathematical, approach. So
yeah,
when in verbal also you mentioned, we have prime x, there's rules for sentence
yeah,
correction.
yeah.
There's octave, and then there is ACT&T. So the question again is that how effective did that turn out to be for you? And is there any resources, especially in the materials, which you can like completely swear by that, this has really helped you improve on your verbal drastically from the time you started and to now when you're on the other side of it, when you look back, what would you
So when I
emphasize?
was on my own, any material online, like any website, I'd be like, oh, this sounds right. Or
Hmm.
maybe because I was not guided, right? So it was like very broad for me. I would take any information from anywhere and be like, oh, this seems right. But when I went to Top 1%, I think all the material in the Top 1% is very well broken down, because I live in the UK. So my timings wouldn't suit for live classes, right? So I had to do it on a self prep basis. So everything, all the recorded lectures, everything else was so well planned. Like the Excel sheet we got first day was, like you see all the Excel sheet, you see all the resources, like it's like a calendar for yourself, like how to approach the material, right? Then I saw the material, I just glimpsed through it, and I saw like everything is so well connected. Every lecture, every pre-work, post-work, coursework, homework, everything. it's all in sync. And I
Mm.
think that material was enough. I think you got enough question practice, enough theoretical application, examples, past questions, and sir, the way he explains, in sentence correction, he's like, for the first 100 questions or 200 questions, every wrong answer you eliminate. And he
Right.
said, why have you eliminated the answer? Because that helps you eliminate in the future as well. Because you may not get the exact same question, but they'll test you on the same things. If modifiers, if you know what the right things are, what the wrong things are, you can apply them anywhere and everywhere in any other question. So I think the way so explained in his recorded lectures is really, really helpful. I think he details it. One thing I really liked was, he was very patient when he got, there's no silly questions, right? But again, people would ask him the same questions 10 times, but he would still answer them like he's explaining like the basic stuff. So I think that really helped me clear any doubts I had. And again, the team was really helpful. And, like if I had any questions with the content, if I needed more practice, they were just there to help me out.
Yeah. So coming to that bit, because you seem to have gotten at least the starting part of the syllabus
Yeah.
completion. Sir is explaining. It was very self-explanatory with the self
Yeah.
course. Now at your preparation phase, which is essentially very close to the GMAT exam,
Mhm.
what do you have to suggest? You did mention about Jignesh and
Yeah.
the faculty support.
Mhm.
Could you tell us some instances where things really kind of had a different outlook towards your preparation, or some point you were stuck, and how did the support came into play?
Yeah, so I was in two minds because I heard someone in the lecture, I think sir only mentioned that, it's not important to do n number of mock tests. You can't do 20 mock tests and be like, oh, I'm ready now. Because sir said mock tests give you a simulation, but they're not the best way or they may not be the right way for you. And everyone's different, right? Like for me, to find 3 hours at a stretch in a working environment is difficult, right? And sir also mentioned about your bio best because I think what time of the day you're going to give your exam really helps you have an idea as to, you can practice at that time of the day. Like suppose I'm to sit my exam at 9:30 a.m. So I took an annual leave of 7 days prior to the
Mm.
exam just to
Mm.
practice my exams at 9:30 a.m. so that I work
Brilliant.
at, so that really changed me because in the second half when I prepared for my 750 exam, that's what
Right.
I did. I took an annual leave. I prepared at 9:30 a.m. so that I was at my bio best. I had to adjust my body clock accordingly so that at 9:30 a.m. my brain is my sharpest. I'm awake. I'm actually like doing stuff at the right time. I think that really helped me. Secondly, I think with the content, so on the portal itself, you will find like chapter wise, topic wise exams. You'll have 25 mock tests. You'll have verbal sheets, quant sheets. Again, pacing yourself is really important. So don't do mock tests for the sake of it. I would say
Right.
pace yourself because it's an adaptive test. The level of difficulty will go up, right? So it's not like you can break out an average of for one question I need 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes. That's not the right way, I would say. I felt like because the level of difficulty goes up, your first few questions should be speedy. Like, go through, just don't waste your time there thinking, oh, I have 2 minutes for this question, I'll take my full quota of 2 minutes. No need. I mean, save your time as you can because you might need it in the future questions, right? So that thing I had by the end of about, like doing all the quant sheets and verbal sheets, had a rough idea as to, I need to spend so and so in my first 10 questions, so and so in my second set of 10 questions. So, I broke it down in 10 question sets, not individual questions. I think that was really helpful. And I think the official mock exams, they are really helpful. Again, if people want to get a real life simulation by the official test, I mean, they cost, this seem to be costly, but once you get them, they really help you. So I think getting the official test is a good way. And yes, if you're stuck anywhere, just ask the faculty to help you. There's so many of them. They'll be very quick to your response time. They'll help you out. And they're free for a call any time of the day. So I think that was really, really helpful because even if I was struggling with something, I was like, should I watch the lectures again? Because critical reason, suppose my level of errors went up towards like last week of my preparation. I was like, I was scared. I was like, this has not happened to me before. Should I revisit the lectures? But I thought I'll waste a lot of time. So I
Right.
called Dinesh up. He said, don't do that. He gave me like a particular location in the material stuff. He's like, go through these questions. If you find that one particular area, suppose assumption is my weak point, then you can watch the lectures again if you want to. But again, if you narrow it down to the exact location where you're finding yourself difficult, then you can probably go through what you need to do. But otherwise, don't revisit the lectures every time you're struggling because you waste a lot of time in that. So I
Yeah.
think that really helped me. And yes, I mean, that's how my last phase looked like doing as
Okay.
many sheets as I could. And yeah.
So, one thing, one key takeaway, you kind of, the last 7 days, how you placed yourself, even taking the marks, which, adjusting to the exact date.
Yeah.
That's very inspiring. Now, on the day of the test, were there any jitters? Because then, you're preparing yourself, which I'm
Yeah.
assuming that should have gone, but then test day is test day. Were there any jitters? Were there any unusual question that you've seen it on the test day? Do you recall anything right now in hindsight?
Yeah, so because I gave 2 exams, so I'll share an experience. So like the first one was at a test center,
Right,
and I live in Birmingham, and my test center was about 10 miles from my house,
right,
and the exam was supposed to be at 8:30 a.m.
right,
So I had to be there by 8:15. That's the latest, right? So I took a cab in the morning, and I was there by 8 a.m. The center didn't open until 8:45. So I was very nervous, like I was like, what's happening? Because there's no one here. It's supposed to be 8:30 a.m. And then
right.
I was the only one doing the GMAT exam there. No one else in the UK takes GMAT because they don't want to or whatever. So I
Yeah.
feel like it's kind of weird. And then they had a system breakdown something when I
Oh
was
my.
about to start. So they're like, oh, we have to wait for it. And like again, you can't predict all this, exam, or this will happen. This is the wait time. But again, it got all sorted. I started my exam, my quant, I went smoothly through it. Then verbal started, right? So you get breaks. You can take 2 breaks in
Great.
your 4 sections. So then you can choose like the way you want to. You want to do quant and verbal, and then you want to do the other two. So I did my quant first, verbal second. So I took a break between quant and verbal. So I went out for my break and came back within 10 minutes. And the moment I started verbal, again, I was in a good mindset, right? So I was happy. Okay, yeah, I did my quant well. I'm on the right track. But then as soon as I had a difficult, not a difficult, but I found it like a lengthy passage, right? And
Right.
and that's where I just
So,
struggled. And I think I was like, oh, I'm on the right track. My timing is good. Maybe I can waste a few, not waste, but invest a few of my minutes here in this passage and make sure I do it correctly, so that I can score, I can maximize my score. And that's where it just went downhill. And
oh,
because I wasted a lot of time there, uh, again messed up my questions in reading comprehension, and I couldn't focus well on the CR, and then which was my strong point. I messed up in CR, and then so on and so forth. So in my second exam, I took it at my own house. So again, it was a different experience altogether, because you start your camera, on a Zoom call 24 like throughout the exam with an examiner,
true.
and that was really smooth, because you have been doing the same exams in your own at your own house in your own study area. So kind of used to the environment. You're calmer. It was my second time, so I knew what to expect, where not to waste time. So I felt like, again, the questions, as you mentioned, again, if you've practiced enough, you will not find it difficult. Again, it's a real life test, so the stakes are higher. It's not your mock exam. You can't afford to go wrong, but again, it's at the back of your head. If I mess it up, what will happen? Don't think about anything else.
That,
Just take it as it comes. Do not get pressurized. You can afford a few errors. It's all right, because again, it's an adaptive test. If you give 3 or 4 mistakes, it's all right. Do not take pressure. What I did wrong was I got pressurized. I was like, the stakes are so high. If I mess it up, my applications. Don't think about it. You can't predict anything, right? So just take it. Go with the flow again, and pace yourself well. Make sure that you use your breaks well, because your quant and verbal count and your IR and AW are not that important comparatively, right? So use your breaks well. Whatever schedule works for you, like whatever, like if you want to do quant first, then do quant first. Practice accordingly. And I think that one week, in the last week when I practiced at 9:30 a.m. really helped me get to my body clock, adjust my body clock. I think that's really important. Like if you practice at night and you have to sit in the morning, it's not the best way. Like adjust yourself well, and it should be all right. I think on the test day, level of questions will be similar. Just don't think they're tougher, because if you think they're tougher, then actually they'll become tougher, right? So if you think, oh, it's the same thing, I've seen it before, it's the same thing. Because I'll tell you, in quant, I was like, why is it so easy? Is there a trick behind it? I would try and force a trick in the question in the first time I gave it. I was like, how can it be so easy? Because in practice level, it's all going to be 700 to 800, right? So you won't
correct.
expect that to be very easy in the exam day. But then I was like, no, it's fine, because don't force a trick where it is not required. Like, don't assume it's going to be difficult. If it's there, it's straightforward, straightforward. It's fine. 1 plus 1 is 2. You don't need a calculator for that.
Right.
Just go with it. Like go with the instinct on the day. Just
It's very
don't.
important. Yeah, generally we tell a lot of students now on the exam day, you can't really think about anything else because GMAT is actually testing your mind. And if
Yeah,
you think about, you're going to mess up your applications at that very moment, you're going to really jeopardize whatever is there
exactly.
ahead of you. Yeah. So now that you have your GMAT score, what next for you, Anuman? Like what are you looking for? What schools are you looking to apply to?
So I think GMAT, what I think it is a it's not an acceptance criteria, it's a rejection criteria, right?
Absolutely agreed.
It's a benchmark that if you don't meet, you cannot apply. Simply, right? So now if I'm above the benchmark, I'm the same as a 800 applicant, right? It's the same thing. So I feel like my options are wider now. They're much broader because I've got a decent GMAT score. I can apply anywhere, everywhere I want to. But in terms of like work experience, I've just done 1 year because I just graduated. I've started working. So again, I'm not very, stuck on to have to apply to IIMs, ISBs or, M7 business schools. I'm still open, not like I'm gonna apply next year, this year. I'm still applying. I'm working with Audrey, who's again from top 1%. And
Brilliant.
just started working with him, and I'm applying to NYU for the round one deadlines in October. I'm working on that. But I feel like because the score's valid for 5 years, I can apply anywhere.
Anywhere.
And
Yeah.
in terms of what colleges I'm aiming for, obviously I'm aiming for the best. Because if I've got a good GMAT score, good education background, I think why not aim the highest I can?
Absolutely.
So I think yes, I'm not stuck on 2024. I have to go into an MBA college. If I don't get through a good one, I'll wait. I'll do my work experience, get some more, speak to more people, network more, and then probably apply again. Because again, 5 years is a long time. Something's going to change. Build your CV and stuff like that.
Absolutely. You've started off with a good consulting firm and another 1 or 2 years down the line. Now that you can focus completely
Yeah,
on your profile. Now that you
yeah,
have GMAT out of your way, you are definitely a testament to most of the students who are starting off. We generally say get done with GMAT and then you
hmm,
can really think, especially the young student.
yeah,
Definitely, you have done exactly what we generally tell students to do in every sense, in both GMAT, in your profile, in your application. And I don't think you should really settle for anything less than M7 with a great scholarship up in the air. And with Autry, he'll do all the, he'll put all the effort that will get there. And I'm looking forward to again seeing the admit. Now, the last one thing that I would say and ask you,
hmm,
Anuman, finally a closure, right? Now this would definitely, like I said, you are a testament to a lot of
hmm,
GMAT aspirants. So what are these do's and don'ts? You have mentioned it largely in our last few
hmm,
minutes, but if you want to kind of point out the absolute must do's
yeah.
and don'ts for students who are starting out right now, what would you say?
So I think primarily set like a short-term and a long-term goal in terms of your GMAT preparation. If you feel like you're applying for, if you want to meet your round one deadlines, suppose if you're like in that stage of your mindset, if you want to apply to MBA colleges this year, suppose like 2024, then probably aim for like, oh, I want to prepare now, get my exam done by this, so that you have a picture in your head. If you're studying aimlessly, you'll be like, oh, I'm not ready, I can delay it further, I can maybe like it's fine, I'll take 2 more months to study, it's fine. No, make a deadline, give your exam by then, because and give yourself a cushion, because first time may not be, you get your best score, it's not like the perfect, right? You need like a 1 month leverage, I feel. So I think make a long-term picture and see when you want to apply and accordingly prepare for it. Secondly, be consistent. Don't be like, oh, 1 week I've been very consistent, so I'll take a break now, next week I'll start studying. Don't be like that. If you got a picture, again, if you have a timeline, then you will work accordingly, because some things may come up, but again, being consistent is something that's really important. Thirdly, I would say is take things as they come. Again, like sir's given us a good Excel sheet which has everything timelined. If you do this topic first, then bit of quant comes in, then verbal comes in. He's thought of something, then giving you that thing. Don't, because the first question I asked was, Richa, can I do it on my own? Can I, like do quant entirely first, then verbal? So he said like, no. Sir's made this thinking of something, right? And it really helped me connect everything. I think follow sir's timeline. That will really help you. And yes, so these are the three things that will really help you plan your things out. Don't should be again similar. Don't be inconsistent. Like don't delay things if they don't have to be delayed necessarily. Secondly, make time for GMAT. It's not like time will come to you, because you might find there's no urgency against I can push it. Get it done, because scores valid for 5 years. Don't push it to later, because you don't know what's going to happen. So I think again, like, get it done as soon as you can. Another don't would be, I think, yeah, don't focus too much on theory. I think doing a lot of questions will really help you find your flaws and where you actually make errors, because I think question battle is really, really helpful. And don't rush into your mock exams. Finish your content first, then go into mock exams, because unless you do your content, there's no point of giving mock
You're
exams.
just going to justify your marks
Yeah,
even.
exactly. So I think something, and again, I think one more thing: body clock adjustment. Again, it worked for me. I think it should work for you. Like
Right.
if you just take 5 days off, just study at that time or give your marks at that time, it will really help you prepare for the day. So I think these are sort of do's and don'ts I would follow.
Yeah.
And yeah, and one last thing: don't feel afraid to ask any of the point of contacts that you have, or all the faculty. They're really, really helpful. Don't be intimidated. No question, silly question. Again, if you have the most basic of questions, go for it, because they'll explain it to you in the best possible way. So don't shy away. Keep asking questions, and you'll be fine.
I just feel so happy to see your experience, because then this is what we expect all our students who are looking at, we give them the plan, and you have
Mhm.
really aced each one of the points that we said. And it just feels so, so happy that you've got this score, this formula worked for you. And I hope this testament kind of just goes out for others who are possibly going to be preparing. All the very best. And I just really hope that you get the best of the admit and a new chapter unfolds. Really wish you the best for the years to come right now, Anuman. Thank you for spending your time today, and you have a lovely, lovely day ahead.
Thank you so much, and thank you again to Top 1%. And I'm still continuing my journey with them, so I'm really looking forward to it. And again, if any of you watching it, just feel free to add me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to help anyone and everyone. And like Sandeep said again, like I think this platform is really helpful. And all the testimonials from other people besides me are show what he's done for us and how small differences can actually make a big change. So I'm really grateful to him and everyone in the team. And thank you so much for today. And I hope this kind of like motivates you all to just pursue your dreams and get your GMAT score ASAP.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anuman. You have a lovely day ahead. Thank
You
you.
too. You too. All right. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Take care.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.